Greetings, friends. Recently, Israel elected a government pledged to restore Torah values. This was a great relief for those who understand that our only hope is Torah and who suffered from the terrible attacks on Torah which had characterized the previous government. And I want to consider the entire idea of elections. My friends, do we have the right to vote on Torah? I would like to quote from my book, Hold On, Surviving the Days Before Mashiach. This is a quote. Most of us have been raised believing that there's wisdom in the vote of the people. But this is not a trustworthy path. The era of democracy is ending as the world slides into chaos. In Israel, the situation is even clearer. As the land given to us in the Torah, Israel is, by definition, the land in which Torah and the Jewish people are to become one. They're there more than any other place. It is clear that we cannot live successfully unless we follow the Ratzon Hashem, the will of our Creator. Who elected Moshe Rabbeinu? No one. Moshe was singled out by Hashem as the leader of Israel. Hashem said to him, "Now go, and I shall dispatch you to Paro, to Pharaoh, and you shall take my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt." Who elected David, King David? Hashem said to Shmuel Hanavi, the prophet, "I have seen a king for myself among the sons of Yishai." This is how David was chosen. This is how our leaders are selected, not through an election in which people who hate Hashem appeal to voters and try to shame their opponents. We will have no success if we imitate the foreign cultures who are our enemies. The electoral process stirs up bitter rivalry and puts the Torah itself on the ballot. I'm not advocating suddenly sweeping away the present system. We cannot do that because the path would lead to chaos. As it says, quote, "I shall not drive away the other nations living in Eretz Yisrael in a single year, lest the land become desolate and the wildlife of the field multiply against you. Little by little," Hashem says, "shall I drive them away from you until you become fruitful and make the land your heritage." But we have to want the proper way of life. We have to daven for the proper way of life. We have to realize that the present system is not the Torah system of government, and that in the days of Mashiach, we will no longer have to endure elections with one Jew fighting another for power and dominance. This is true especially when Torah itself is voted upon. This is a terrible Chilul Hashem. And that ends the quote from my book, Hold On. How can we vote on Torah? Is Torah up for election? We're standing before the King of Kings and voting whether to accept his Torah. What a chutzpah! And I see in the headlines that now there is fighting among the members of the new government. There's still no peace. And while we fight each other, the world is fighting us everywhere, inside and outside Israel. This is not an accident. My friends, when are we going to get the message? Stop fighting! In this week's Parsha, Yaakov Avinu fights the Malach, the angel of Esau. In next week's Parsha, the brothers fight each other. One fight elevates us, the other fight destroys us. When we fight the Malach of Esau, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, we are elevated. As a result of this epic struggle, Yaakov Avinu received the name Yisroel, for you have striven with the divine and with man and have overcome. But when we fight each other, we lower ourselves, God forbid. When a Jew fights another Jew, worlds of evil are created. The Chavetz Chaim explains, quoting the Zohar HaKodesh, quote, "There's an evil spirit named Tzachzucha. When people speak Lashon Hara, this spirit travels up to the heavens and uses the opening created by the Lashon Hara to bring death, war, and killing into the world. Woe to those who awaken this great evil by not guarding their tongues and speech. These gossipers awaken the great servant so he can prosecute the Jewish nation. It says in Mishlei, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Why is death stated first and life second? Perhaps because the tendency of the tongue is toward evil. We need to control our speech. A child is taught the entire Torah in its mother's womb. But when it is about to enter the world, an angel comes and strikes it on the mouth, which makes it forget the whole Torah. Therefore it is written, sin crouches at the door. This is a quote from the Gemara, Maseches Nida. The great enemy and all our enemies are crouching at the door, ready to swallow us alive. How do we respond? What do we learn from our father Yaakov? David HaMelech told us, when Kol HaGoyim, Kol Goyim Savavuni, all the nations surround me, there's only one counsel. What did David HaMelech say? B'Shem Hashem ki amilam. In the name of Hashem, I cut them down. Only when we raise the banner of Hashem do we have the right to exist. There's only one goal. Let's forget politics. And all we've learned from the impure nations who surround us. If we march under Hashem's banner, we'll soon see the Gula Shalema, the final redemption, with the coming of Mashiach ben David and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. Good Shabbos.